Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go through and do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That is where I dive deeper into all of these sectors, topics, looking for potential investment opportunities. That includes dividend paying stocks, high risk developers, explorers, and I do choose these things based off the technicals and the fundamentals. I'm a hybrid investor. I try to marry the two together and find the best opportunities on a risk reward basis. We were lighting it up today in the Discord today, looking for potential buy points. Lots of things are down right now. And I think it's a really great time to join the community with the opportunities that are out there at this time. We've got that May Day coupon code that is active, and you can get 50% off the first month only, or you can get a larger discount on the yearly membership. Even if you're a monthly membership, you can always go to the yearly membership and sign up for that. The value there is the midweek updates and the question and answer sessions on the weekends. You will literally learn how to become a better investor from my point of view. Yes, I've listened to thousands of YouTube clips just like all of you guys have, and I just haven't gotten what I needed out of YouTube and some of the experts on these websites or channels that I follow. So I created my own, and you can learn from me if you'd like, and then you can figure out how I'm doing it, which I think works out very well. Let's dive in. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. We've got the dollar. We have a big potential shift here. We have a bearish engulfing pattern that occurred today. There it is today. Bearish engulfing is when it engulfs the candlestick before it. More or less, it's an uptrend moving to a downtrend. So if I were to zoom in on the right-hand side here, and I draw just regular trend lines, what you're going to see is the trend has broken to the downside. You see that trend? And this up here is really that bearish engulfing. It's this breaking of that uptrend line. So that's what a bearish engulfing is. It's an uptrend being broken to the downside. And that's where we're going to get a potential move to the downside. We could. And that's the setup that we have today. And that generally comes from yields dropping. Dollar and yields move most of the time in tandem. Not always, but most of the time. So we look at the 2-year yield. The 2-year yield is dropping a little bit, but that still looks pretty strong on the short end here. Short end still looks strong. We're going higher. But when we look out on the long end, the long end is showing a little bit of weakness. So we had a bearish engulfing here. It didn't really have much follow through. We came on up. We have another bearish engulfing candlestick that we're looking for a sideways or potential move lower. Now, if this doesn't play out, we'll see continued strength. The reason I'm looking for a potential turn here is because on all of these charts, what you'll see is you'll see a breakdown of the trend line here. A lot of the times you get a breakdown and then a retest in this area. And we're right in the area for that retest. So if we're in the area for a retest, I should be looking for evidence of potential turning in an area that's coming up here. And that's what I'm doing. The 30-year, getting a little bit of selling pressure here. That is a bearish engulfing. But here's the tough part. We're sitting on top of support here. And let me get out the weekly. We're sitting on top of support here on some of these. So that makes it a little bit more difficult to project if we're just going to blow through all this support and go lower. So we had a down day today in the dollar. We've got some bearish setups in the interest rates, but they are still on top of some support. So really what we have here, we could potentially move lower, but we're still on support and we have to wait and see where we're actually going to end up and go. This could go in either direction. And right now, I still think that upward trend is intact. That hasn't been completely blown out yet. Now, is there a possibility that bonds go up and the dollar goes down at the same time? It's possible, but I don't know if that would be a likely scenario. We'll have to see how that plays out here. PYX-TNX ratio, we're still getting the curve to invert, which means that the longer end of the curve came down more than the short end of the curve. Well, at least that's what happened today. And we are still at really low levels of this ratio. We are inverting here. And that generally doesn't work in gold's favor when it inverts. But the yields were coming down and the dollar was down, so that is tailwinds behind gold. So even though the curve inverted some, we still have tailwinds from weaker dollar and weaker yields. Bond prices showing up. Obviously, they move inverse to interest rates. And we're seeing strength in bonds today, up 0.64%. It decides to show up. So we're coming up. We're underneath resistance here, though, guys. So if yields are going to drop, we need to see this go up. If we are at resistance here and they come down, that means that yields will go up and bond prices will go down. That is a big deal because this is going to have an impact on all of the assets that we look at. This is yields and bond prices are the foundation of what everything else gets priced off of. That's why we go over this every single day. And if we see yields going up, it's going to be a headwind for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. We want to see a stabilization of yields, not really going up or down, but I mean, we've been going up. Hence, bond prices going down. The 2 and 10, there's our yield curve inversion. We're still in a downtrend. We haven't broken that downtrend line yet. Still waiting to do that. And it looks like we are going to try to invert here. The reason I say that is you come up with some good strength, big green army, and then you squeeze into a corner like that, and then you want to break upward. Makes me think that yields want to continue higher now when I get more and more evidence of this. And that would result in a inversion of the yield curve. Gold's up $20 an ounce. Now, is this still a bearish engulfing pattern where gold's going to go this way or sideways? I think that's still the case. I don't see it moving yet. It looks like we want to try to base out here or do some sort of consolidation like this here. Silver also didn't have a big strong day. It didn't have a ton of follow through though. It's still a downward move, and this is a bloody nose. It's an inverted bloody nose. So you have a bearish engulfing, a small little candle next to it. An inverted bloody nose, which could continue lower or sideways. Think of it as a consolidation. Platinum, it's moving on up. We're at that resistance line. Now, platinum's a little bit different breed. It's not from the same breed of gold and silver. Gold and silver are fear trades. They anticipate money coming into the system. Platinum is the realization of that money coming into the system, and we're right underneath this resistance line ready to break out. It looks absolutely fantastic for that to potentially break out. Palladium going ballistic, Goose, up almost $100 today, 96.5 up 9%. Now, some people are going to ask, well, why? Why did Palladium go up that amount? Well, there's a couple of things. We were up against resistance here. I threw that in there. We broke this first resistance line. And then what happens next is this is called a linear trend line. The linear trend line has a rate over run. So you've got this where it falls. That's your Y over your X axis. That is going to flatten out. So your steepness is going to start to flatten out. And then you start breaking the resistance lines on a less steep level. We broke out today. So we were up against resistance, hit our head, we had support underneath us, then we finally broke out today. So we could see this run to the upside. Guess what we did on the website? We positioned down here on support of our favorite companies. And there were some companies that are now up well over 100, 200%, over 100%. I don't know about 200%, but they're starting to move. Today they were up 10 to 20% today off this move of Palladium. GDX down a little bit today. That's that pullback that we're seeing, but it's not a reversal candlestick. Not a reversal candlestick. Not a reversal candlestick yet. That was also down. We've got buying pressure with these wicks on the bottom. And then we've got SILJ with the wick on the bottom too. Now, some people are going to say, well, I'm going to play the short term. Guys, I wouldn't play the short term here, guys. I wouldn't play it. Gold and silver can rip at any second. So even though I said that silver was moving sideways here, doing a potential, consolidation, these things can shift very quickly. So the best course of action that I have found for myself is to just stay long. Stay long. Don't try to mess with the short-term stuff. So these candlesticks do not look bad. Don't look bad in the minors, and this could shift very quickly and rip and continue to rip. So XE to gold ratio, we're getting a little bit of underperformance for the gold and silver mining companies today, but that was a retest for the most part. We popped up. There's our retest today. This could work its way on up where gold and silver mining companies outperform gold, and we are coming from ridiculously low levels. That is a huge opportunity, like once in a lifetime opportunity. So this is looking good. Everything's well set up. Don't get too impatient. Patience is where you need to be. You need to get in a happy state like Happy Gilmore. Go to your happy place and just be zoned in that happy place and look for opportunities to accumulate when things are this cheap and breaking down trend lines. The next course of action is to start breaking horizontal lines. Then you get up above and start ripping. Crude oil down slightly today. Now, I think there's a lot of opportunity in crude oil. I do. This is a bullish setup. We have big buying pressure. We've got kind of a falling wedge. We break out of the falling wedge, and this is a flag pattern. You like how I made all that so quickly, didn't you guys? I think this could potentially go higher, and people are not looking at this. They're not looking at oils thinking, oh, it's going to go higher. They're all jizzing over gold and silver right now. But this here is starting to put in some work here. Looking good. TTF nat gas also working its way on up. People aren't talking about TTF, and it's looking fantastic. Big buying pressure, falling wedge. Big buying pressure, falling wedge. Here's your flag pattern working its way on up, baby. Looking fantastic. Natural gas in America going up 9.44%, baby. Broken down trend up against resistance support. There's your buy point, ripping. Did I buy this? Yes, I did. Thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. Boy, XOP, yeah, you know me. What is this thing doing? It's looking not bad. Now, it looks like a little bit of, just scattered stuff, but this kind of looks like that double bottom. It's slanted on a downward move. We've broken out here, and now we're squeezing into this corner here. The opportunities are coming to us, guys. And again, I will go over those opportunities in the midweek update that I released. Check it out on the website there. You guys are new members. OIH down a little bit today. It's a very similar setup to XOP, but it's just jumbled all down here. Patient guys, I want to see some buying pressure here, and I would be firing away. We could be doing a double bottom here at any second. Newcastle coal futures up 0.62%. We're right underneath this. So what are we doing here? Low, higher low, higher low, and what do we have? We're getting a little flag pattern here. It's going to go higher. It's going to break out, boys. It's looking really good. And I think this is going to work its way on up with TTF nat gas moving up and natural gas in America going up 9% today. Profitable Uranium Trust, we're still rubbing and grinding on that stinking resistance line up there. It is a huge flag pattern. Do not lose sight of that big flag pattern, guys. So we're up there. We're probably going to get some buying pressure soon. That's what we're looking for. Buying pressure to come in here. Uranium futures pricing. This is the weeklies. The flag pattern. Up, 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 up. Now people are going to say, well, it's not going up immediately. Guys, that's not how you play markets. You don't play markets by being impatient. The market's going to serve you some layups. You got to take the layups when they're there. This is showing us that it's broken to the upside. Now we just wait. Got to be patient for the market to do whatever it wants to do in the time frame that it wants to do it in. You don't get to determine that. We just have to watch the patterns. We have to look at the fundamentals and say, yep, everything is good. URA up about 0.63%. And what is this? What does this look like, guys? All right, I'll give you a freebie, guys. All right, we're up against support. This is falling in small red candlesticks. What do you think I'm going to do here? What do you think? Probably going to buy there. If I was a uranium bull, I would be getting here. And I'd probably be looking at my favorite picks to seeing where they're at right now. URNM down a little bit. There's your small selling pressure candlesticks. You've got support all through here. Same setup. Same setup as the other one. And URNJ is up a little bit here. A little bit of support down here. So we'll see if it comes down and tags that support. And I don't buy off support, guys. I get jiggy with it. I might start cost averaging in around these areas. And that's what I teach on the website. Show you guys how to do all that. Copper up 0.86 or 0.8%, looking good. Looking good. There's your falling wedge to that degree. We've popped down out, and I do think we could have an upward bias here. Now remember, we're playing with probabilities. We're not playing with 100% outcomes. It strengthens your probability when this falls and you've got support underneath you. That here, it could even fall to that level there and do a little bit of a touch and go. This is probably your double bottom, is what I would say. And that's where you could eventually end up is this. I'll leave that in here, guys. Somewhere in that range where we might tag it. COPX down just a little bit. It's still squeezing. I'm just going to move this up and move it over. So we're still squeezing in this setup there. And we're drawing these things real time. There's your double bottom that we saw with a lot of other sectors. Iron ore, we're starting to work our way on up. I'm getting a little bit tingly here, boys. This looks really good setup. It's a Livermore accumulation cylinder ready to break to the upside. There's a lot of really good opportunities here. At this location, there's some companies that have fallen in the iron ore, steel sectors, diversified miners that are paying 12+% dividend yields. And then you've got the dry bulks and all the stuff that move the iron ore. So this could be a good setup. And remember, China, it's fallen a lot. They're doing a lot of stimulus, and that stimulus working through the system is going to impact iron ore. It's coming. Aluminum still at that pesky resistance line. We're getting a little bit of selling pressure there still. But we're wearing it away. We're wearing that resistance line away. And how do I know that? Because every single time we hit it, we're not falling back as far. So these patterns do mean something. You hit it, you come back. You hit it, and it doesn't come back as far. That's your shoulder. So this would be a inverted shoulder head shoulder on here. And we're going to wear away at the resistance here and finally break at some point. That would be my opinion. Nickel down a little bit. It is still falling a little bit. Being a little pesky here, but looks like it wants to come back down and maybe do another bottom here. Just fine. Let it do it. And I would be looking at potential. I want to see what the candlesticks show here. We've got Moo down just a teeny bit. I like how this is falling, and it looks fantastic for a potential entry point here very soon, and or already, depending on the individual companies that you're looking at. You might already have buy points in this general area here for those companies because they might front run the ETF versus others. Emerging markets down slightly. Remember, weaker dollar, weaker yields, and it's going to have an impact. And I just kind of drew that in real quick. That is still valid. I'll just draw a more legit one here. Here we go. A little bit better looking. Falling wedge generally breaks to the upside. We've got KRE that's right up against resistance. I do think this could potentially break higher. We do have a little bit of a bearish setup here, which is a inverted flag pattern is what I'm seeing right up against there. So we could still come down to that lower level in the pattern. That's still possible. We've got TAN, lower, weaker dollar, weaker yields. These might all go up. So TAN's going up, lithium's going up. This could be an inverted flag. We could still have one last little blowout before moving higher. We could even come all the way back here. That is still possible. But some of the individual companies don't look that bad. So I'm doubting if that is going to come. And then REMX still working sideways. You got this nice bullish engulfing. It does look kind of flag pattern-ish. We'll see where that goes. We've got Baltic Dry Index that's still falling like a rock. But there's going to be opportunities here in dry bulk. If we get down here, I'm a buyer. I'll just buy it all up. I will. XHB, the home builders, still at that support resistance level. and we've squeezed on up. So we've tightened up the candlesticks, the opening and closing prices, which means the buyers are starting to equal the sellers. Now we want to see if it reverses or if there's some more selling pressure because we're underneath resistance. Russell 2000, small little candlestick there. It's hanging on above support. Not really much to say yet. SPX, we are up a little bit today, but it doesn't look all that great. It doesn't look all that bad either. We're just kind of hanging out and we're above support. We'll see what happens here. Same with the NASDAQ. It's very similar. Now, this one looks a little bit more weak. The reason I say it looks weaker, we've got larger selling pressure here, and then it squeezes on up. You can see the size of these downward moves. So downward move, less of a downward move, less than a downward move. This is your dead period going up into a corner where the buyers equal the sellers. And then we popped out to the downside. That's that big down candlestick. And now we've got just a small little update today. So I think that this is biased sideways or lower. That's the way I'm seeing it. The only way they're going to push this thing up, uh, and this is at the corner of a bigger rising wedge. So it's a rising wedge into a rising wedge. And this is your back test here. I think this looks pretty crappy, honestly. SMCI up 2%, and I still look at this from the bearish perspective. The overall NASDAQ looks pretty bearish. I'll just leave this in here, guys. Let me actually put a legit. This is your inverted pattern there, and then this could be another inverted pattern, angling upward a little bit. We'll see. Not a ton of buying pressure down here. Not a ton of selling pressure either. Nvidia down a teeny bit. Still looks okay though. Doesn't look horrible. Doesn't look horrible. Bitcoin up 2.32%. That actually looks pretty good. So Bitcoin's looking a little bit different than the other ones. That looks good to go higher. That is a bullish engulfing that we got today, right against support. So that does look good to go higher. And then Ethereum, it still has downside pressure here. Not a big reversal candlestick or anything like that today. So that momentum's still there. But Bitcoin is looking pretty good. That's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Mayday coupon code is that coupon code you can use. We've got a question and answer session coming up this weekend, Saturday at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Obviously, it's 9 a.m. Eastern Time and earlier, 6 a.m. for Pacific Time. But that's what I've got coming up. We're probably going to discuss a little bit about currencies, and I might discuss a little bit about the strategy. If we get more people to sign up to the website and they come in and view that, I'd like to go over the strategy real quick. I'm not playing the short term. What I'm playing, to give an example of kind of what I'm playing, I'll use URA as an example. What I'm doing is we're playing the big picture move, and I purchased down here. In fact, it was right here that I purchased September, October, November of 2020, and I'm riding this entire bull market. I'm going all the way up, and we did purchase some more in this corner here. That's called the dead period when you get this contraction size there. Purchased here, yeah, we probably purchased some on that support zone too. And now we've got the bottom here moving on up. Now this is across all of these different sectors. It's not constrained to just uranium. I look at everything. So if you're interested in dividend paying stocks, we can create a dividend portfolio, which I'm doing, and then you can see which ones I'm buying. Then you can do some research into the companies and see why I'm buying it, where I'm buying it, why I'm loading up on it. I even am sharing a portfolio completely where you guys can see everything. And then I describe every single one of my purchases, why I'm doing it. I'm buying it because of this, buying it because of that, showing you the technical charts, the chart setup. I'm showing you the ratios. Cheap here, it's inflecting on its earnings from losing money to making money. The charts are agreeing with that. All of those things, on and on and on. You can see it, and I show you sector and company, sector and company, sector and company. And I don't buy these all at the same time. I buy them when they're down, and I show you those setups. That's the value. That's the value. How do I do it? And then you can see how well it works out. You can see my success rate. You can see my returns. You can see everything in the portfolio that I'm showing, and you can see it all. That's the value. And I don't see anyone else doing that. I don't see anyone else doing that. So you want to learn how to invest, if you want to learn something for the rest of your life that will pay you, pay dividends back to you, I think that's a good way to do it. Mayday coupon code if you want to sign up. But that's all I've got for today, guys. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.